Hey, what's happening, y'all? I just thought I do a follow-up video on the Canelo Alvarez and Amir Khan fight that took place last night at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. Once again, I have to say, good fight amongst both combatants. Amir Khan definitely get props for stepping up to the challenge and fighting a bigger man at the weight class. Though he did get knocked out. Um, which is his third knockout loss out of his four defeats that he suffered throughout his career. Um, some would argue that his stock doesn't fall, but then again, his stock doesn't really increase now that his fight with Kell Brook pretty much loses quite a lot of interest, which I would tend to agree to because it seems like now that the British electorate may not be too keen on the fight now, given that fact that Khan got knocked out in a very, very brutal way, probably much worse than any of the other two knockout losses that he suffered, famously from Brendan Prescott and the other for Danny Garcia. But needless to say, it's good news to see that he's okay. He is in good health, and yet he was able to respond to his fans saying he's okay. He will continue to fight on, and the WBC did agree that he will not lose his mandatory position at the 147 weight class for the title against Danny Garcia. So we'll see how that goes and see how things pan out for that fight to be made. Now, would you be interested to see that fight, given the fact that Khan is coming off a knockout loss? I'll let you decide on that, but I know that's going to be another video if it does come to fruition. But on this matter here, Canelo Alvarez, all I got to say is what happened to you? What happened to you? I mean, despite the controversial win you got against Austin Trout and your loss against Floyd Mayweather and all that, despite that, the fights that you had, as a 154-pound champion, you had respect. Okay, people admired you for your old fashioned, your the old fighters mentality of you went to step in there and fight the best of your division. You wanted to take on all comers, no matter how big they are, how small they are, how fast they are, and how powerful they are. Okay, people respect you for that. But ever since you've been taking a succession of fights at 155, namely Erislandy Lara, then James Kirkland, and you had Alfredo Ngulu, and then other than that you had Miguel Cotto, and now Mayor Khan. It's just getting crazy, You have a mandatory obligation, and that's against the guy Golovkin. You paid him step aside money, which I felt that Golovkin's team should have never have taken, which I'll get to later in the video. And now you're gonna go out and say that Golovkin, we don't have to fight for belts. I'll fight him for pride. Blah 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 blah, etc. etc. So you making that comment, it just gives me the impression that you're not going to fight this man for the title. You're going to vacate it, and then you'll fight him on your terms. Wow. Okay. So, oh my God. I gotta say is this, man. You gotta stop fooling around with this because that 155 weight limit is really killing you and is really becoming a detrimental to your health. And you could tell by the face of your body language and your facial expression at that weigh-in. And I have to allude to this again, where you immediately jumped off the scales to grab a drink of water, or you snacked on something because you were severely dehydrated. So take the fight at 160, man. Win, lose, or draw, you will still get respect. And let me, excuse me, you'll get respect for fighting Golovkin. And let me get to that right now, because I think, and most of us would have already came to this conclusion already, that Canelo Alvarez, for some reason, there is some type of fear that he has for Gennady Golovkin. I hate to say that. And I don't like to say that Canelo fears no man, but I think he fears Gennady Golovkin to a degree. And now let me tell you why. A few years ago, according to some reports, Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez had a sparring session. Okay? And I think they had a few sparring sessions together. And each sparring session, Gennady Golovkin was giving Canelo Alvarez so much work, even so much work to the point that he knocked him down. He even rattled him in sparring to the point that Canelo was really, really, really hurt. Okay, and from from those sparring sessions, and from those days, Canelo Alvarez probably said to himself that I'm going to stay away from this man no matter what. Okay, and we perfectly see that perfectly exhibited in these these sessions of 155 catchweight fights that's been occurring for the last almost 2-3 years now after the Mayweather fight. Canelo knows in his heart that he doesn't have the skill set to beat Gennady Golovkin. He knows that. So he figures that if he could get the fight with him at the 155 catchweight, he will drain him to the point that he will go ahead to the point that it would eliminate some of Gennady Golovkin's power. Now, even if Golovkin can't not knock him out, he's going to get the decision no matter what. And let me get to that right now if the fight goes to the scorecards. And let me get to that right now. And the reason why I say that is because before the Khan stoppage, many of us were not official, ringside judges like myself, has scored the fight for Khan. Khan was winning the fight, maybe 3 rounds to 2, some would argue 4 rounds to 1, okay, before the stoppage. But 2 ringside judges had it, and I'm going to ring up the cards right here, which is unbelievable to me. 2 ringside judges had it. One ringside judge had it 48-47, 49-46 for Canelo Alvarez, while one ringside judge had it 48-47 for Amir Khan. So, from that indication, even if this fight between Khan and Canelo went the distance, Amir Khan wasn't going to win this fight. One way or the other, okay? Canelo Alvarez is going to win it one way. All right? And we all know that Canelo has been the baby, I should say. Always get the favoritism politically when it comes to, ringside scoring, okay? We've seen this perfectly illustrated in the Austin Trout fight when many felt that Trout won that fight, including myself. We've seen that in the Erislandy Lara fight when many people felt that Lara won that fight, including myself. We've seen that in the Miguel Cotto fight where some said Miguel Cotto won, like I thought he won, and some said, that Canelo Alvarez won. I mean, it was still a controversial score. And the draw that he was able to get against Floyd Mayweather, which I believe in. I don't like Floyd. Believe me, guys, I ridicule Floyd. I can't stand the dude, but you got to recognize real for what it is. And clearly, Floyd dominated that fight. And one ringside judge scored it a draw for Canelo, while another ringside judge scored it 8 rounds to 4 for Floyd. It gave 4 rounds to Canelo. I think Canelo didn't even win. He only won 1 round in that fight. So, if you're going to get a draw against Floyd Mayweather, which is very difficult to do, then there should be an indication that there's definitely a lot of corruption going on when it comes to Canelo Alvarez. Okay? So, if he somehow, and this is only hypothetically speaking here, if Gennady Golovkin does agree to the catch weight of 155, 157, whatever the catch weight is, if Golovkin, his power will be diminished to a degree. It'll probably be diminished to where that he cannot knock out Canelo Alvarez. If Canelo can just last for 12 rounds and Gennady Golovkin can't knock this dude out, he's going to win the fight, no matter what. And Canelo knows that too. He knows that he has the machine on his side. And you as an opponent going up against the machine is going to be very, very, very difficult. And you're going to have to knock this guy out to win. Okay? Point blank. You're going to have to knock him out to win. And to me, it just, it's just like, if you ask me, Canelo Alvarez is kind of like Zars Glaskov, the heavyweights. You got to knock this dude out to win the fight. If you can't knock him out, he's going to get the decision no matter what. So it is what it is. But needless to say, man, I don't know. I just think that Canelo Alvarez just need to stop being he's disgracing that middleweight title, okay? It all started with Miguel Cotto, obviously, but now Miguel Cotto is no longer the champion. You have this guy as the champion, They're disgracing that WBC title, okay? And like Mr. Boxing Today said, shout out to him, by the way, ever since that Sergio Martinez fight, that belt's been treated like shit. Real talk. It's lost a lot of credibility ever since Martinez has lost that fight against Cotto. Now it's looked at upon as a laughing stock. Canelo's using that belt to get fights, to get like welterweights to come up come up 2 weight classes, which is an 8-pound difference, which doesn't seem much to the degree to fight him. So while he can stay away from the other middleweights, who he knows is not going to agree to a 155 catchweight unless they want a big payday. Okay, now I wish that Matt Kellerman, who interviewed Canelo, he did somewhat put him on the spot and asked him, are you going to fight Triple G your mandatory, yes or no? Okay, I wish that Matt Kellerman would have said, you know what? If you're going to fight Triple G, are you going to fight him at 160, yes or no? Put pressure on him. Put him on the spot by bringing up the weight class, which Canelo has vehemently said over and over again, he will not defend that title 160. Put him on the spot. And I felt that Matt Kellerman felt that, as a responsible journalist, you got to ask tough questions. Okay, I know HBO is, Canelo is the HBO darling, but still, you got to put him on the spot. It is just there's no other words to describe it, man. Again, this is just all goes back to that sparring sessions days with between Canelo and Golovkin, and Canelo hasn't forgotten that. And he knows damn well if he steps in the ring with Golovkin, he's gonna lose. He might get knocked out. So this is why he's trying to disadvantage him at many ways possible. Now on to Gennady Golovkin for a second. I know I have I haven't been going after Gennady Golovkin himself. It's more his team and his management because, based off their messaging on how they're approaching certain fights, it seems like they're getting desperate when it comes to getting big fights. Okay? Now, let me make this clear. There's nothing wrong trying to, put out a message and trying to get your fighter out in line or position him, angling him to get, to get big fights with certain fighters. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, you just got to be consistent with your messaging, because if you're not, this is where it leads you to ridicule. Okay, now Gennady Golovkin, we could say that he doesn't have the greatest resume in the world, which he doesn't. Okay, we could say all that. Yes, I even have critiqued his resume to a degree because other fighters are trying. Other guys were trying to, shit on legends, and you guys know what I'm talking about, just to propagate Golovkin, which I felt that's the wrong thing to do. You don't do that. But let's take this. Let me give you a logical perspective on this, okay? Gennady Golovkin is the best middleweight out there. No question about it. Whether he's the linear champion or not, a consensus will tell you that he is the best middleweight out there, okay? And he is on track to break Bernard Hopkins' record, which I hope he does. I really hope he does, okay? Because I think he's earned that right. He's a humble guy. He has the highest regard and respect for the sport that he competes in. And it's impossible to hate the man. Personally, it's impossible, okay? Now, yes, he does have some haters. He does have detractors. No question about it. But for the Golovkin supporters who say that, whenever we critique, like myself, or we critique his resume constructively, you can't say we're haters, man, because if you're doing that, then you're doing the same thing to Floyd. You're doing the same thing to guys like Keith Thurman. You're doing the same thing to guys like Tim Bradley. Okay? It's not hate. It's just honest critique. Okay? You want to critique other fighters, even other fighters that pass like Hopkins and Hagler, and try to compare and contrast to Golovkin. That's your critique, fine. But when somebody else like myself does it and say, you know what, I don't agree with that analysis, don't say I'm a hater. I'm just critiquing, just like I critiqued Floyd. Okay? Now, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but what I'm saying is this. Despite all this, Golovkin earned the right to get the shot at the champion, at the guy who is universally recognized as the middleweight champion of the world. He'd earned that right. Regardless of what you want to say about his resume or not, but he's earned that right. He is the unified champion in that division. Okay? Yes, the other champions have ducked him. The other top middleweights have ducked him. So the only guy left that he has to fight is Canelo Alvarez. Now, if that fight does get made, great. I just wanted to get made. If it doesn't get made, Where else is left to turn? Billy Joe Saunders? Well, he said he wants to fight, but again, I have to allude to this point. It doesn't seem like he's serious about it, but if he's not serious about it, where does Golovkin goes from here? Where does he go? I mean, he could. This, is those who say that he should move up in weight. Come on, man. I mean, let's talk about this for a second. People say that Gennady Golovkin should move up in weight, and those who suggest that he should move up in weight and take up fights are indicating that you're saying that because you're a hater. You just want him to lose. Okay, some people are saying that may be the case, but me saying that, no, I'm just being logical because I want the man to be challenged. Okay, what's wrong with your favorite fighter? What's wrong with not asking for him to be challenged? Okay, it's not hate. It's just that if you say that he's the best in the world, then he needs to prove it. He needs to, he has to find challenges somewhere. I want him to be tested. I want to see how good his skills against world class fighters. I want to see it, man. I mean, I wanted to see that from Tyson when he was coming up. I wanted to see that from Holyfield. I wanted to see that from, all the other great heavyweights. I wanted to see that from Michael Carbajal back in the old days. I wanted to see that from Pernell Whitaker, Shane Mosley. And they all have stepped up and fight world-class fighters. They all moved up in weight and did it. Bernard Hopkins did it. He moved up from 160 to 175 to become a world champion. The first guy in history to do it. The only guy to do it. And besides, it was Golovkin's management and trainer who said that they have no problem of Gennady Golovkin moving up from 160, 175 to take on fights. They said that he has no problem with those guys. But I know I'm rambling a bit, but all I got to say is this. I just hope this fight happens. If it doesn't happen, then they got to do something. I'm out. Peace.